Good evening and a very warm welcome. This is Prime Time News on TV1. I'm Thiruni Karunaratne. As always, we're coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios here in Columbbo. First up is a look at tonight's top stories. India and Pakistan agreed to full and immediate ceasefire. President attends State Vessak Festival in Nuwara area. Sacred relics procession heads to Sirasa Vessak zone. Helicopter recovered after crashing into Maduru oil reservoir. Fire at warehouse in Columbbo. In our top story for tonight, India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire along the line of control, marking a significant breakthrough in de-escalating tensions between the two nations. The agreement follows intense US-mediated talks, with President Donald Trump announcing the halt in hostilities after a night of negotiations. The development comes just hours after Pakistan launched Operation Banyan al-Marsoos, a large-scale military operation targeting 26 sites in India in response to the recent Indian airstrikes.
US President Donald Trump said today that India and Pakistan had agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire after a fourth day of strikes and counter-strikes against each other's military installations. Posting on his Truth Social, Trump said, "After a long night of talks mediated by the United States, I am pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a full and immediate ceasefire." He added, quote-unquote, "Congratulations to both countries on using common sense and great intelligence. Thank you for your attention to this matter." US Secretary of State Marco Rubio also commended the nation's two prime ministers on their wisdom, prudence and statesmanship in choosing the path of peace. Rubio said that he and Vice President J.D. Vance had spent 48 hours with senior Indian and Pakistani officials, including Prime Ministers Narendra Modi and Shehbaz Sharif, ahead of the ceasefire. Posting just 10 minutes after President Trump announced the ceasefire on Truth Social, Pakistan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar confirmed Pakistan's ceasefire with India. He said in a social media post, "Pakistan and India have agreed to a ceasefire with immediate effect." The minister added that Pakistan has always strived for peace and security in the region without compromising on its sovereignty and territorial integrity. In a press briefing, India also confirmed the immediate ceasefire.
The Director General of Military Operations of Pakistan called the Director General of Military Operations of India at 15:35 hours earlier this afternoon. It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea with effect from 1700 hours Indian Standard Time today. Instructions have been given on both sides to give effect to this understanding. The Directors General of Military Operations will talk again on the 12th of May at 1200 hours.
Posting on social media, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also said India and Pakistan have today worked out an understanding on stoppage of firing and military action. The minister added that India has consistently maintained a firm and uncompromising stance against terrorism in all forms and manifestations. He said it will continue to do so.
In response to India's unprovoked attacks on Pakistani territory, the Pakistan Army launched a military operation named Banyan al-Marsoos, targeting multiple Indian military installations. Locked in a long-standing dispute over Kashmir, the two countries have engaged in daily clashes since Wednesday, when India launched strikes inside Pakistan. And of course, Pakistan vowed to retaliate.
According to security sources, Pakistan's armed forces used the Fatah-1 guided missile system to deliver precision strikes on key Indian military installations. Amid escalation of tensions between India and Pakistan, the Airports Authority of India and relevant aviation authorities issued a series of notices to airmen announcing the temporary closure of 32 airports across northern and western India for all civilian flight operations. Pakistan also shut down its airspace after the military reported a series of attacks by India on its airbases. Meanwhile, foreign media reported that grounded Pakistan International Airlines flights will resume at 10 p.m. local time. The announcement comes soon after Pakistan announced it reopened its airspace as a ceasefire went into effect.
European leaders have called U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss proposals for a 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine from Monday, while on a visit to Kyiv. European leaders have held talks in Ukraine with President Volodymyr Zelensky in an attempt to put pressure on Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire as a step to end the 3-year conflict, threatening Moscow with massive sanctions if it refuses. The call came after leaders of the so-called Coalition of the Willing held a meeting to discuss advancing peace talks. The leaders of France, Germany, the United Kingdom and Poland were hosted in person by Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, while others joined remotely.
I think our common objective is to secure this unconditional ceasefire for 30 days. Initially, it was a proposal made by the US. You made the move, and I think it was very bold, as Keir mentioned, in Jeddah, beginning of March. And it was reiterated 2 days ago by President Trump in a very clear message. So all of us have now to back this unconditional ceasefire for 30 days and increase pressure on Russia. And it means unconditional ceasefire in sky, on land, at sea, that should be long enough and that could be renewable. It should be completed with appropriate provisions for monitoring and with arrangements for the distancing of forces along the line of control. And it's very important to engage with the US for them to be in charge of the monitoring, with the assistance of all those who want to join, and France is obviously ready to join, but it's very important to have the UN's involvement. We need a clear mechanism for the attribution of potential violations, and we firmly reject the possibility of making any concessions of prejudging the outcome, and there is no precondition.
A 30-hour ceasefire, unilaterally called by Putin to mark Russia's Victory Day, is due to end on Saturday. It has seen a decrease in fighting, but both sides have accused each other of breaches.
And people listen to us. And also because they don't like that wasteful, corrupt political culture. So the smoothest transition ever, I think any country could learn a lesson, you know.
Just the fact that you're a woman is not sufficient. You need to have a good backbone. You need to be sure of who you are. And you need to have the strength to speak up.
After the Arab era, we are led to believe that there are a lot of young people who are interested in politics, in governance, in system change and all of that.
Thousands of people who are involved. It's very polarizing. So we have to seek certain reconciliation also in the society when we talk about this. We shouldn't always be polarizing. We shouldn't always be, leveraging it politically.
Face to Face, Monday to Thursday at 8 p.m.
The state Vessak Festival commenced today in Nuwara Eliya. The event was held with the participation of the Mahasangha, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, as well as both lay and ordained devotees.
The 2025 State Vessak Festival will centre Nuwara Eliya. The event is held under the guidance of the chief prelates of the 3 sects. The inaugural ceremony was attended by the Mahasangha, members of parliament, government officials, diplomats and both local and international devotees. A commemorative stamp marking the 2025 State Vessak Festival was also issued. The first stamp was presented to President Anura Kumara Dissanayake during the event. In addition, the Sannaspatra proclaiming the Kotmale Malyadeva Purana Rajamahaviharya a sacred site and another Sannaspatra declaring the Kurunagala Sri Vishnu Devalaya a sacred site for the 2025 State Vessak Festival were officially presented by the President.
නුවරඑළිය කියන්නේ බහුසංස්කෘතික බහු ආගමික සමාජයක්.
Newsfirst is a multicultural and multi-religious society where people live together in harmony. Some may wonder why the state Vessak Festival is being held here, given the relatively small Buddhist population, but that is precisely what makes it significant. This society's diversity adds historical weight to the celebration. At a time when the teachings of Lord Buddha are most relevant than ever, the current government led by the President is committed to uniting all ethnic and religious communities to build a cohesive Sri Lankan nation. This is a vital and timely opportunity to work towards that goal. We hope that this state Vessak Festival will contribute meaningfully to national unity. As part of this effort, Dhamma sermons will be delivered in Tamil during the week in Newsfirst. I believe these are profoundly important and timely initiatives.
අපෙන් ගිලිහුණු ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ජීවිතය සුපුෂ්පිත කරගන්න එක කරගන්නට පුළුවන්.
After attending the opening ceremony, the President visited the International Buddhist Center in Newsfirst. He met with Venerable Kirioruwe Dhirananda Thera, head of the Newsfirst International Buddhist Center and Registrar of the Newsfirst Regional Sasana Rakshana Balamandalaya. The President also inquired about upcoming activities related to the festival. Meanwhile, the National Vessak Week also began today. The state Vessak zone will be open from today until the 16th of May at the International Buddhist Center in Newsfirst. From today onwards, the Vessak zone will welcome devotees daily from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. All wine stores and slaughterhouses island-wide will remain closed for 3 days during Vessak Week. The Railway Department also announced special train services beginning today for devotees travelling to Newsfirst and Anuradhapura. These services will continue until the 13th of May.
The ceremonial procession bringing sacred Sarvagnya relics to the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vessak zone continued its journey for the second day today. This year's Sirasa Namami Vessak zone will be held on the 12th and 13th of May at the MTV MBC head office premises in Braybrook Place, Columbbo 2, offering a vibrant and spiritually enriching experience for devotees and visitors alike. Sacred Sarvagnya relics of Lord Buddha as well as the sacred Agra Shravaka relics of Sariputta and Moggallana and those of Ananda and Upali Maharahat Theros will be exhibited for the general public to pay their reverence. The sacred relics are being respectfully escorted in a motorcade under the spiritual guidance of Venerable Bathura Kumbure Dhammaratana Thero, the founder of the Nelligala International Buddhist Center. Yesterday, the procession passed Murutalava, Pilimatalava, Kadugannava and Mavanalla and reached the Ambulugala Sri Dantapaya Rajamahavihara. The Sarvagnya relics were then placed on a special platform in the midst of much reverence from the witnesses. The ceremonial procession carrying the sacred Sri Sarvagnya relics commenced its journey, giving the opportunity for people gathered on the either sides of the road to also pay their respects. This morning, the sacred relics were brought to the Veyangoda Sri Nagendra Rama Purana Vihara, passing Utwankanda, Molagoda, Karanupana, Kegol, Galigamua, Nelumdeniya, Tholangamua, Barkapula, Pasyala and Nitambua. People gathered on the either sides of the road and paid their reverence to the Sri Sarvagnya relics.
සර්වඥ ධාතුන් වහන්සේලා ඇතුළු ඒ වගේම කේශ ධාතුන් වහන්සේ ඇතුළු සරියුත් මගලන් ධාතුන් වහන්සේලා සියාතින් සම්බුද්ධ පූජාව පූජා කිරීමට අවස්ථාව සැලසුණා. ඒ නිසා අපි ඊටාම සතුටින් බුද්ධාලම්බන ප්‍රීතියෙන් තමයි ඊටාම මේ වන්දනාමාන කරන්නට අපට අවස්ථාව සැලසුනේ.
ජීවමාන බුදුහාමුදුරන්ගේ කේස ධාතුවේ රතේ වැඩ සිටිනවා කියලා අපි ඇත්තටම දැනගන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒ දැනගෙන ඒ සාදු කියන්න හරි ලැබීම හරිම සතුටක් කියලා භාග්‍යයක් කියලා හිතෙනවා.
එදා සිට මෙදාතුරු දශක ගණනාවක් සිරිස මාධ්‍ය ජාලය කරන මේ සත්කාරය අපි තාමත් අගය කොට සලකන අතර ඉදිරියටත් මේ වගේ වැඩසටහන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට සත්‍ය ධෛර්යය ලැබේවා කියලා අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේ ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
ධාතුන් වහන්සේට වැඳ ගන්න ලැබීම ගැන අපිට හරිම සතුටුයි. අපිට මේ වගේ අවස්ථාවක් ලැබෙන්නේ බොහොම කලාතුරකින්.
සිරිස මාධ්‍ය ජාලයට අපගේ ගෞරවනීය ප්‍රණාමය සහ අනේක වාරයක් පින් දෙනවා.
This evening, after arriving at the Beyangoda Nagendra Rama Purana Vihara, a special Dhamma sermon will also be held, led by Venerable Diyasen Pura Vimala Thero. Tomorrow, the motorcade will reach the Kalaniya Raj Mahavihara and is set to reach the MTV MBC head office premises in Braybrook Place, Columbbo 2 on the afternoon of the Vessak full moon Poya day. The sacred relics that are deposited in the Gaul Paramananda Raj Mahavihara, which were gifted to Sri Lanka in 1886 by King Chulankara, will also be displayed at the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vessak zone for the public to pay their reverence. This year, at the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vessak zone, you too can pay your respects to the Sri Sarvagnya relics that will be on display and witness a colourful procession, dansal, pandals, bhaktigi and puppet shows and be part of the Amisa and Pratipatti Puja. The procession of the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vessak zone will parade the streets at 7 p.m. on the 12th of May, the Vessak full moon Poya day. It will begin its journey from the MTV MBC head office premises in Braybrook Place, Columbbo 2, past Park Street, the Columbbo Town Hall and reach the head office once again through Union Place.
Are you the one with a talent the world has never seen?
Not perform, or if you have not performed, and if you do not perform, this is a protest vote we are going to place, and that signal, that protest vote will go down very well because the government will know that their popularity is coming down and they will have to arrest him.
This government needs checks and balances.
You can't say only winning parties announce their candidates. There have been it has been time and time again where, candidates are chosen.
Our police is still being restructured and reformed at the moment, and that is part of the reason. But I also think organized crime is a bit unsettled at the moment.
Face the Nation every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Time News. The Bell 212 helicopter that crashed into the Maduru oil reservoir yesterday, claiming the lives of 6 individuals, was recovered today.
The Sri Lanka Navy, in collaboration with the Air Force, launched an operation to recover the Sri Lanka Air Force Bell 212 helicopter that met with a tragic accident yesterday. Meanwhile, an on-site investigation has been launched around the Maduru oil reservoir regarding the incident. This investigation is being conducted by a 9-member investigation board appointed by the Air Force commander to probe the accident. The 2 pilots of the aircraft and 4 army personnel who were injured in the incident are currently receiving treatment. Army Commander Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo visited the Polonnaruwa General Hospital today to check on their condition. The Air Force said that after assessing their medical condition, the army personnel will be transferred to the army hospital, while the Air Force personnel will be moved to the Hinguragoda hospital. Sergeant Thusita Varna of the Army Special Forces, who died in the accident, was a resident in Pinnavala in Balangoda. He joined the Special Forces in 2008 and at the time of his death had been serving as a special instructor at the Madurai Special Forces Training School. The 35-year-old had married a school teacher 2 years ago and she is currently 6 months pregnant.
මම ආයේ කෝල් කරන ගමන් බලන් හිටියා මට 6:44 තමයි කෝල් කරේ කෝල් කරලා කිව්වා ඉස්කෝලේ යනවාද කියලා මට පරිස්සමින් යන්න කියලා කිව්වා ඊට පස්සේ මම යනවා කියලා එයා කිව්වා ඉතින් මම ඌ දවසම බලන් හිටියේ මට කෝල් කරේ නැහැ මම එතකන් කිසි දෙයක් දන්නේ නැහැ මට මගේ දරුවට තාත්තා කෙනෙක් දුන්නා ඉතින් මට තාත්තා කෙනෙක් කොහෙන් හදන්නද
Corporal Vimukthi Dasanayake of the Sri Lanka Army also lost his life in the accident. He was a resident of Vasgamua and his body is to be placed at his wife's house in Makulugola, Mahianganaya. He was 28 years old and his wife was expecting their first child. Corporal Lakmal Pereira of the Army Special Forces, a resident of Tekawata Katana, was a father of 1 and his wife is also currently pregnant. The 32-year-old's body is to be placed in his new house that is still under construction. Corporal Prasad Premaratna of the Army Special Forces also lost his life in the accident. He was a 27-year-old resident of Variapola and the youngest in the family of 2 children. Corporal Madhuranga Metruan of the Sri Lanka Air Force, a 30-year-old from Sevanagama in Bandaravela, also died in the accident. He was the 4th in a family with 5 children. Flight Sergeant Sanat Udayakumara of the Air Force also lost his life in the accident. He was a 3rd child in a family of 5 and a father of 2. He was 45 years old and a resident of Deibata Valimada.
A fire broke out today in 2 commercial establishments on Vauxhall Street, Columbbo. The Columbbo Municipal Council Fire Brigade said that efforts to extinguish the blaze continued until early tonight. A total of 12 fire trucks have been deployed to the scene.
The fire which broke out this evening affected both a restaurant and an electronic store within the building. While the fire in the restaurant had been brought under control, efforts to extinguish the flames in the electronic store have proven more difficult. The fire brigade cited limited access to the store as the primary challenge in controlling the blaze. Meanwhile, a fire that erupted this evening in a warehouse in Armour Street, Columbbo, has now been contained. 2 fire trucks were deployed to douse the fire.
The local government election Sri Lanka 2025.
The Samagi Janabalabegya says that discussions are underway to establish power in several local government bodies where opposition parties hold a majority.
A very popular topic today is that attempts are being made to buy off councillors at the Columbbo Municipal Council and other key institutions by offering them privileges, benefits and financial aid. It's a well-known issue. Not only that, it's also very clear that certain members of leading political parties in the Kurunegala Municipal Council are being offered various privileges, benefits and money. Yesterday, I attended a discussion at the Kurunegala Municipal Council where, just like elsewhere, the majority is not with the government. Even there, negotiations are underway with minority parties offering them privileges and benefits. The General Secretary has already initiated discussions. I believe this will be finalized within the next 4 or 5 days. The authority to conduct the negotiations has been handed over to the General Secretary by the party leadership. This is solely aimed at establishing power within local government institutions. As of now, there is no discussion regarding any future political alliances or coalitions beyond that.
Chanaka Senanayake today resigned from his position as the Gampa district organizer of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya and also withdrew from the party's membership. He cited his opposition to the party aligning with corrupt individuals in an attempt to gain control of local government bodies.
We repeatedly said during the presidential and parliamentary elections that it was the corrupt who bankrupted this country, that they were the wrongdoers. But now, after the elections, we see the SJB working together with those very groups we criticized in a bid to seize power in provincial councils. I completely oppose this. We cannot stand with thieves. That's why I said associating with the corrupt is unacceptable. So today, I have decided to step down as the SJB's district organizer and also relinquish my party membership. Also, we've seen a setback for the National People's Power after the local government elections. We believe that switching party leaderships like changing one's headgear is not the solution. While I agree this government must go, I also believe we must not return power to those responsible for economic destruction, corruption and fraud. To prevent that, we must now present a proper plan. This is the right moment for an honest political movement to step forward.
මේ අවස්ථාවේ යම් කිසි වැඩපිළිවෙලක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. අවංක ව්‍යාපාරයකට දැන් හොඳ අවස්ථාවක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. කොළඹ මහනගර සභාව ඒ පත්වීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයයි.
Even if the United National Party and SJB join forces, that's not enough. Together they only have about 36 seats. They need 48. That means they will also need to bring in the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna. So they are trying to unite everyone, the same group that looted the country and led it to bankruptcy. We once stood on platforms opposing those very people. Now how can we join hands with them? What the SJB should do is clearly state that it will support the National People's Power. We will give our support freely and expect nothing in return. We will give our support freely and expect nothing in return. We cannot allow power to be handed back to the corrupt. If the SJB can't say that, then we can't remain there.
News First with the people.
The distress loan limit for government employees has been increased. This was announced by the Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government in a circular. The ministry said that accordingly, the distress loan of 250,000 rupees has been increased to 400,000 rupees. The ministry said that this step was taken in line with the increase in public servant salaries as per the previous budget proposals. Now, a book penned in Tamil titled Dr. Shafi's Struggle Against Injustice was launched in Columbbo.
The launch of the book, Dr. Shafi's Struggle Against the Injustice, was attended by several key figures including A.L.A. Aziz, the former Sri Lankan permanent representative to the United Nations. The book was penned by journalist Afraf Shihabuddin.
අපි ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයෝ විදිහට අපි සියලුම ජාතියන් අතර
As Sri Lankans, we must strive to live in harmony.
And that's a wrap of Prime Time News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Take care. Good night.